According to German statistics, two-thirds of all crimes in the country are committed by foreigners. Leading positions in the criminal rating were often occupied by people from the former Soviet Union. It was not possible to wait for a gift from Karlsruhe and the Georgian thief in Laschedel. The German Supreme Court decided to dismiss the appeal and sentenced him to 3.5 years in prison. The reason for this punishment was organized crime and fraud. His accomplices were natives of Kazakhstan, Chechnya, the Czech Republic and Turkey. They were also prosecuted and deserved punishment. The legendary trial of the Russian Mafia was closed by a refusal to appeal in Lower Saxony. In total, the trial lasted 196 days, and the verdicts were handed down at the end of 2017. In the history of Lüneburg, this process is listed as the most expensive and longest. More than €1.4 million were spent on translators alone, and the heat of passion was so great that armored glass was installed between the dock and the public. This was done to protect the accused from popular anger and to ensure safe trial for all. In an abbreviated form, the trial is covered in the Russian edition of DW for 100 pages. In places, the text is similar to a historical and forensic study of both Soviet and post-Soviet criminal customs and traditions. They explained in detail the criminal terminology, for example, who are thieves in law, what is blat, common fund or water, as well as the laws and rules that criminals follow in the post-Soviet space. To explain how the Russian-speaking criminal organizations work, the court used the services of 3 experts from Germany, England, and the United States. The costs of the trial exceeded the damage caused by the group, about €450,000. The leader of the gang was Skedely, Georgian by nationality, a citizen of the Russian Federation according to documents. He was an authority in the underworld. He was known to Aslan Yusoydin, better known as Dead Kasan, who was liquidated in Moscow on a cold January 2013. Using the figurehead in Hanover, the gang has earned €500 million in 5 years of its activity. The Skedely grouping bought the goods in installments, which immediately went on sale after delivery. Naturally, no one was going to pay the supplier. About a dozen sellers became victims of the gang. Among them were both sellers of Apple products and sweat suppliers of fruits and vegetables. The main difference between the Skedely group was blatant arrogance and insolence, which not a single German gang possessed. There has never been a case in German history when a Swiss wholesaler was ordered to deliver 12 truckloads of onions without any payment. In order to blur the eyes of the Swiss, the gang paid for the first 2 trucks, after which it seemed that Skedely was a responsible entrepreneur. Naturally, the following trucks were not paid for and disappeared without a trace. Due to the criminal actions of the organization, the wholesaler lost €310,000. Oranges, lemons, and onions were ordered for this amount. When the supplier came to visit negligent customers, he found only an abandoned office. As a result, the Swiss businessman suffered huge losses, which were later reimbursed by the insurance company. Thanks to the life lived in the USSR, criminals from the former USSR acquire those qualities that provide them with a place under the sun in the underworld, said Benjamin Gendreau, spokesman for the Berlin branch of the German police union. The main advantage of Russian-speaking bandits is good connections. Such a criminal can easily get himself a firearm, commit a burglary or launder money. Another feature of immigrants from the USSR is the experience of conducting real combat operations. Many criminals received it during showdowns and armed conflicts. Such a skill is very useful if a conflict over spheres of influence between factions begins. For this, the Russian-speaking bandits are very much appreciated by the criminal world, since it is they who are distinguished by their fearlessness and willingness to go to certain death in order to achieve their goal. Based on the latest report from the Federal Office for Criminal Affairs, Russian-speaking criminal groups proudly occupy a leading position, second only to the Arab-Turkish clans. However, according to one of the experts, these statistics are based only on the cases initiated, in other words, registered with the police. According to him, there are many professional criminals who act in such a way as not to catch the eye of the police, so the coverage of crimes is greater than it seems. According to another expert, most often criminals are active in areas where they can quickly make a lot of money, while making minimal costs. Such activities include trading in criminal goods and collecting money for protection. Also today, crimes related to antiques are gaining popularity. Arab clans are also actively involved in such events, but they are beginning to lose out to Russian-speaking criminals in the drug trade. Fearlessness is a key factor in the natives of the USSR, so they calmly crush the drug business. Due to high competition, conflicts often arise between criminal gangs. Even despite the fact that such areas of business are very extensive, human greed constantly gives rise to conflicts of clans and factions. A particularly hot spot is the area near the Kodmesser Tor metro station in Berlin. Arab clans and groups from the North Caucasus are constantly in conflict for the right to illegal trade on it. Most often, such conflicts turn into full-scale skirmishes, in which shooting is often used. Because of their internal laws, which are followed by Russian-speaking bandits, natives of the USSR are harder to detect. According to their rules, you cannot show off your income, so it is extremely difficult to detect a criminal. They live modestly, never drive expensive cars or buy large quantities of goods. Such behavior does not betray criminal authorities in them, which greatly complicates the search for the perpetrators. The magazine Criminal Police, in its study of organized crime, called criminal clans the biggest problem for the security of German citizens. Berlin, the port of Bremen and the high-density zone, the Ruhr region are recognized as the most hot spots. Within days of the court dismissing the Skedely appeal, the Berlin police released a new report on the extent of organized crime in the city. In 2018, the German police opened 59 criminal cases, where 462 people were convicted. More than half of them were foreign citizens. The most dangerous, according to police reports, are Chechen criminal organizations and groups whose activities are based on the trade in criminal goods, extortion, and money laundering. Schettle's main assistant was also a Chechen bandit who took an active part in the Caucasus for the separatists. His appeal was also rejected by a German court. According to German statistics, 2/3 of all crimes in the country are committed by foreigners. Leading positions in the criminal rating are often occupied by people from the former Soviet Union.